that concludes our first guest speaker of the day, and I would like to introduce you all to our next speaker, Colin Tetreault, coming to us from the City of Phoenix. He is working with Greg Stanton, the Mayor of City of Phoenix, as his Science and Policy Advisor, and he will speak to you a little bit more about what that entails and open it up for a little Q&A with the class. So hopefully you all enjoy, and without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Colin.
Thank you for coming.
Hi. Well, good morning. My name is Colin Tetreault. I'm the Senior Policy Advisor for Sustainability to our new mayor, Mr. Greg Stanton of the City of Phoenix. Anyone here a Phoenix resident?
Nope.
Fantastic. One? Fantastic. Just canceled this year.
Yeah.
Gates.
Councilman Gates, very good. Are you up in kind of the Sunny Slope area?
Yeah, a little further north.
Very good. Excellent place. A lot of growth and opportunity for adaptive reuse and development going on up there. Fun stuff. We can talk about that. So my background is part business, part hippie, part geeky scientist, I guess you could say. I often refer to myself as the executive hippie. So my background is in business development, and marketing. So my degrees are marketing, sociology, and business development from an undergraduate perspective. I have a master's degree in sustainability, actually from this illustrious institution. Very honored to say that. I do consider myself part scientist as well, but predominantly business. I guess you could say a large piece of the brain. You know what? Not predominantly. Probably about even. Business, geek, community, hippie, fun stuff like that. Executive hippie, we can say that. The background as well is sustainability. Now I am over at the City of Phoenix, serving as the mayor's policy advisor for sustainability. What that means, we're going to talk about that. Sustainability, it's a big overarching thing, right? Have we been doing this in the City of Phoenix already? They're doing green and environmental stuff? Yes. Actually, here's the fun thing. The city already has a sustainability officer on the management side. We'll talk about that. And then, why am I here? Is that duplicative? Is it a waste? No. Actually, I think not. It's quite synergistic. I teach here at the school part-time, where I teach predominantly on business and sustainability strategy and energy and environmental policy. I currently co-teach with the former president of Shell Oil, a guy named Mr. John Hoffmeister. So I often and affectionately joke that I teach hippies how to make money and capitalists how to have a heart. Put it together, that's what we get, right? How do you create executive hippies that understand business and commerce but are sensitive to the natural systems, marry that together for social justice and equity, make the world a better place, fun stuff like that. So we're going to talk about the City of Phoenix. Does anyone know how many people live in the City of Phoenix? It's trivia time. Very close.
More than 170,000?
That is correct, more than 170,000. So remember, there are about 75,000 students that go to this campus right now. Actually, so what happened on Tuesday? What was the big thing on Tuesday? February the 14th. Valentine's Day, and exactly.
100.
We turned 100 years old. Fantastic. February 14th, 1912. So the university here has existed since 1896. You know, my wife's going to kill me because she's the president of the Alumni Association if I don't get that date right. But Teddy Roosevelt, I believe in 1913, stood on the steps of Old Main, right over there. The oldest building currently on campus, not the original building, but now the oldest building still on campus. Thereafter is the University Club. And he stood there after dedicating the Roosevelt Dam, and he said, "My friends, what you are doing here is so incredible that you may someday grow in this entire city to see 75,000 people." No, he was right. His scale and time was off a bit, right? Because there are 75,000 students just at this institution. Greater metropolitan area, so the Valley of the Sun, 5 million people. Give or take, depends on how you count it, how far you go out, right? City of Phoenix is 520 square miles, give or take. About 1.5 million people. So out of that, it is the elephant in the room, right? Has the largest, well actually Buckeye is technically larger in terms of square land mass, if I recall. It's one of the largest municipalities in the nation, actually by square land mass, is that right?
It was number one for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a lot of land out there.
Isn't it because of the farming community mostly?
They annexed a whole bunch of that stuff about 25 years ago. It's just huge tracts of land. Right? Anyone a Monty Python fan?
Yeah.
Okay, right. See, we're going to try and have some fun here. I'm not some stuffy, that's why I took the tie off today, right? Some stuffy city bureaucrat. Okay, don't worry about that. So Phoenix is a big place. It's got a whole lot of people. Here's an interesting thing. 520 square miles. We've got a political boundary, okay? So District 3 with Councilman Bill Gates, fantastic guy. Does air quality from what we produce, say from emissions, just within our political boundary to the city of Phoenix, does that air stay within our boundaries? No. Nope. How about the water we pull out of our groundwater aquifer? Does that come from Phoenix potentially, or do we potentially share that with East Mesa? Yeah. Right. We definitely share it with East Mesa. So sustainability really, even in the context of the city of Phoenix, is regional in orientation. We'll talk about that in a bit with some of the things. The Sustainable Cities Network, have you heard about this here at ASU? The SCN, Sustainable Cities Network, I would recommend taking a look at. It's a great alliance between a lot of different cities and municipalities addressing aspects of sustainability. And Mayor of Phoenix has kind of redoubled his efforts in order to be a part of that. So I've been appointed to be the Senior Policy Advisor. What is this? Well, first off, let's start. We don't have a whiteboard. We do have a whiteboard. This will be fun. I like to draw things, and I draw like a third grader, so it's going to be even more fun.
Do you need markers?
Marker, great.
There you go.
So every time it says, "Con, your handwriting is terrible," I just say I'm like a Picasso. It's very abstract, right? Can't you see? It's actually an allegory for World War II. Right? It's like the Bayou Tapestry. Is that right? Allegory for World War II. Forget my art history. Anyway, so City of Phoenix. Who's in charge?
The people.
Yo, look at that, man. That's like the right answer. Democracy. Oh my gosh, that's you. You're in charge. What about after that? One step down. It's a trick question in terms of running the city.
The district representatives.
Part of it. All right, so we've got, let's say, our elected. What's the other side of that equation?
City manager.
Ah, yes. So Phoenix has a professionally managed system of government. Has anyone here worked for a for-profit corporation that's been public? For a public company? Okay. Are we familiar with the typical structure of a publicly traded organization? You've got, what at the top?
CEO, CFO.
Oh, you get shareholders at the top,
Chairman of the
shareholders, right?
Shareholders, board,
Oh, so wait, so what was that right there?
the board and the chairman of the board,
Board and the chairman. Who are they in charge of?
CFO, CEO.
The C-level people, right? It's quite the same manner. So now, are the board and chair in charge of running that organization on a day-to-day basis? Absolutely not. They have fiduciary responsibility, and the chair runs the board, essentially, right? And by committee action and board action, they can compel, because they can hire, they can fire, they can tell the CEO what to do, right? But are they in the office every single day busting their backside? Well, it depends. I mean, I will always say our elected officials put a ton of effort into what they do. But they're not there typically every day, working in the finance department or taking phone calls, doing customer service. Rather, they provide strategic vision, oversight, guidance, motivation. This guy on down, the CEO, or pardon me, person, the CEO on down, runs the organization, professionally manages and stewards that company. City of Phoenix is much the same way. So you have your elected officials. How many are on the city board? Total? There's eight council districts. And there's a mayor, so you get a total of 9. Right?
Someone said that.
The 9. Fellowship of them, right?
Lord of the Rings.
Look at there, see? Look at that. Smart guys. Smart class. We're going to have some fun here, okay? And then you got an excellent gentleman named Mr. David Cavazos. And he is the city manager. All right? Mr. Cavazos professionally runs the city of Phoenix. The electeds, including all of your councilmen, so your councilman from your district, District 3 is Mr. Councilman Bill Gates, fantastic fellow, and then you have Mayor Greg Stanton. So this actually aligns quite well. We have a bifurcated system of government. So essentially speaking, when we think about it in kind of large structural terms, right, the board is the council, The chairman of the board in the organization is effectively the mayor, right? Who runs the city on a day-to-day basis. It's not the council person, it's not the mayor. We're talking like water services, streets, parks, public works, things like this. Now, while they all have purview over this, they're not taking the phone calls, right? Necessarily. Actually, the mayor is very gracious and actually takes constituent phone calls almost every day. But Mr. Cavazos, in his shop, and his deputy managers, handle the day-to-day stuff. So it's interesting when you think about the fundamental structure and the form of the city of government. So what do you think that means for our electeds and for our mayor? This is, what's that?
They get to relax.
Oh. Well, I would not say relax. The mayor is indefatigably working along with all of our council persons as well. But this means that a singular board member, so can a singular board member go say to the finance department and say, I want you to change every single thing, this is the exact way we're going to do it, right? You would typically need a majority vote of the board, say, to pass resolutions of a company. We call those ordinances, i.e. laws, in the city of Phoenix, right? Now, upon that action, they can compel the city manager in order to do something, because he's like the CEO, right? Now, what happens in a for-profit organization if the chairman of the board, sends a note to the CEO? Stuff's still going to happen, right? So it's interesting. The mayor has a lot of influence, a lot of ability to partner with internal and external players as well. Some backlight. It's my halo. It's all a farce. Now the mayor, on the policy side of things, is the very public figure. He is the figurehead of the city of Phoenix, and that carries an immense responsibility and an immense amount of opportunity. Anyone who really knew that we had, did anyone know who David Cavazos was before 3 minutes ago?
See him on the news.
See him on the news, but
I knew the city manager existed, but I didn't know who he was.
but you knew who the mayor of Phoenix was, right?
I know what he did.
Right. So it's interesting. Professionally manages in a day-to-day capacity. Figurehead, not figurehead, that's patience. He is the person who is shepherding the city, but rather is a very public figure. So what this means under the city management, where does sustainability fall? Here, do you think?
In the middle of this all.
Right. So here.
It should be everywhere.
Should be everywhere. Well, that's obviously the answer, right? But as it stands currently, under our Public Works Department, there's a fantastic woman named Miss Carolyn Bristow. And Miss Bristow has been there. The city has a fantastic tenure. Is very accomplished at what she does. She's the city's sustainability officer. So she's the one on a day-to-day basis that helps manage the vast preponderance of the city's portfolio of sustainability. You go to phoenix.gov, you can click on environment and sustainability. There's a whole bunch of stuff right there. So our Green Phoenix plan, remember that? The 12-point Green Phoenix. Stuff Energize Phoenix. You've heard about that. That's a light rail corridor aspect of energy efficiency, $25 million Department of Energy grant. That falls under her purview. So on a day-to-day basis, she's tasked with doing that. So what does that mean about me? I'm over here. So we've got the mayor, and then we basically have a chief of staff, and I report concurrently, essentially, to these two individuals. There's Colin right there. And we have about 8 other policy advisors that are in different areas, minus sustainability. How much power do I have?
Well, it's
Power
more
or
about power
influence?
to influence the elected officials on the where we want to go, where she's more of the, this is how we're going to get there.
The driver, the bus driver.
Yeah.
Is that a fair analogy?
It is.
She's kind of